Yeah, it's good to be here. Well. Today we are going to have this. From now on, we'll be having the coaching shows different, the life coaching shows different. As you remember, I used to do the English version followed by the Shona and Devele all in one video. But from now onwards, I'll be doing single ones for each language. Okay, because I thought like maybe it would be better for me to reach a broader market, a broader viewers. Yeah, and then not to bore you people with the different languages maybe that you don't want to hear or that doesn't make sense for you. So maybe it's better this way that like every language will have its own session. Okay, so when you start googling, please try and find the proper language for you. No worries, you are really welcome to try the other languages as well. Okay. All right then. So this one will be the English version of episode 7, action. So action time, and then the roots, the various roots. So that's the today's session. Action time, the roots versions. We started like with action time last week. So this is more or less a continuation of that. Okay. So you remember, like we were saying, we are on the route to changing your situation. So we are listening to this, or like I'm asking you to listen to me. Yeah, I hope you do. Okay. Why the idea was, I said, like, I need to help somebody. I need to motivate somebody to change the situation you are in. All right. You know the situation you are. That's all what I always say, that you know the situation that you are in. And if you are not happy in that situation, you don't have to stay there. There are ways out, but it's up to you to take the best way out for you. Okay. So maybe together, I might give you some hints here and there, what you could try that could help and make you and be your exit way out. Okay, so that's what we are dealing with. There's too many shadows here. Okay, all right then. So let's get started. Yeah, I said like my main topic is follow your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything, because you can do whatever you tell yourself you want to do. You can do that. It's hard working involved, yes, and it can be long, yes, but there is nothing that is not possible or that is impossible. That is, you can say like it's not doable. Okay. All right, we have a few examples from the world to say things that some of us never thought would happen, did happen around the world. So there are few good examples. Yeah. Okay. So I said like today we are looking at the different routes that we can take. We said like, yeah, get the preparations done and all that. So route number one that we are going to talk about today would be to say, okay, you need to start your own business. Yeah, you are working for somebody and you are tired of working for somebody, and then you tell yourself, enough is enough. I want out and I want to start my own business. Okay, we mentioned a bit of that last week, that you say, you can definitely start your own business, but the thing is, what are you going to start? You have to sit down and make a proper planning. Okay, or like sometimes people get started and then they start working things backwards. That could be difficult, or that is really difficult, but it's not undoable. It is doable. All right, so like route one would be to say you are going to start your own business. Yeah, I said like last week as well that I mentioned business, making a business plan. Business plans are good. They give focus to what you're doing, right? So like what you are going to be thinking about here, we will handle like business plan as a topic on its own, because it's quite major. It's not something that you can go whoosh whoosh. Yeah, though I do whoosh whoosh sometimes. Yeah, we can, like, what I do whoosh whoosh now is just like to give you a checklist, to just boxes that you can start thinking about if you are going to go route number one. Route number one, like I said, in my case here, route number one is starting your own business. We are talking people who have said, you know what, either I don't want to work for somebody else, or you say, I'm tired for working for somebody else, or you say, you know what, I'm just trying something else to see how it will work. Or you have big eyes like me, that that the salary that like from your salary you can never have, like you will live, but you can never get a fortune. Yeah, you'll be chasing your bills, running day in, day out. But that life, that's really like what makes you think like, whew, that's me. And then like you won't be able to manage that because you are working for somebody. Then it might be the time for you to say, let me consider becoming self-employed and start working for yourself. That way you organize your time better. The profits and the headaches of staying awake will be on your bill. But it's something that you have to take on account with. Okay, so we are saying business plan. So my business plan checklist for you guys for today, if you are taking the Root business plan, will be to look at what it is that you are going to be selling. Where are you going to be selling it? What company structure are you going to be having? That kind of thing. Where are you going to be selling? Like those are like kind of things that a business plan handles. I'm not going to be talking all of it in detail, but you're considering where are you buying your goods? What do you want to? What's the product that you are selling, or what's the services that you want to sell? Where are you getting it from, and who are you selling it to? What will be your prices, and where will you be getting your capitals and all that? That's what you are looking at as you are sitting down and planning. I am going to be a business person. Okay, you have to make your homework. Without doing your homework, things will be difficult, or you can be money just thrown out of the window, money that you really need to live on. Okay, there are different routes here to becoming a businessman. You can you can sell things online. Yeah, you can sell, that's a topic on its own. What varieties are they using the online market? We can talk about it another time. But there is that option to say, I'm going to be selling my services online. You can say, I'm going to be selling my services to physical people on physical addresses, and I'm going to be delivering myself. Or you will have the structure of a business. So it's everything that you have to think about as you are playing the route. I want to go into business. Where are you going with it? Which direction are you going? So it's homework for you before you jump into that idea. Okay, so that will be business route 1. And then route 2 will be employment. Yeah, employment, that's my route 2. So to say you are working for one company or the other. Either way you are not happy. Problems happen. People mob each other. People get tired of one job. They want to develop further. People just decide like, now it's high time I try something else. People want to move around the world and see the world and like changing careers and all that. So that's route number 2. You can either, if you're already working, improve where you can either improve where you are, get yourself into a higher position, get yourself into a different department, get yourself into maybe same company, a transfer into a different company, a different town. It all depends on what your company's got to offer. So that will be the route. You are in employment, and what can you do? It's not about quitting your job first and then looking. While at least you are where you are, in some companies, there is an opportunity to say, you go window shopping, what you can do, your abilities, right? There is a chance in some companies that you can go window shopping and see what are the colleagues in other departments doing, right? If your company is that big that it offers that opportunity, go and have a look. What are the other departments doing? How do they work? Maybe if they have an opportunity for you and you like what they're doing, why not talk to the bosses and see if a transfer within the same company would work, especially if you don't like where you are or you've gone tired of where you are, so that you can use that opportunity. Okay, if that is not an option in the company where you are, you can decide maybe looking elsewhere. Yeah, looking elsewhere, what is happening out there, and then you take that opportunity and look for a job into different companies. So, like the usual, either grapevine, who knows what in the market, or you can, you can set up a profile for yourself. You do your profile, you can do like the LinkedIn thing, you can do the ZinkedIn when you're in, like, I think the German one, there's a German equivalent for LinkedIn. You can look that one up. I think it's Zing. Yeah, you can check that one out. Or, you put your profile online. These days there's online profiles, and then, like, you use that to say, guys, I am here, this is what I can do, right? And see if somebody, like, you, instead of you waiting for the headhunters to hunt you down, you hunt the headhunters and say, look, guys, this is me, this is what I can offer. And then you can be sure somebody will find you. Yeah, so that's one option as well, to say, while you are in employment, improve yourself, get more certificates there, and then use the chances that you have. If there is a job in where you are that you want, go for it. You don't have to wait and ask for somebody to give you the permission. If you can give it a try without risking too much, give it a try and see what happens. Okay, maybe, God willing, you will get the job. Okay, and get the improvement of yourself. It's about you. Remember that it's always about you and what you can and what you think you can do, and with your abilities. You always have to put that in mind. It's about you, first about you, before you think about anybody else. Okay, so that was route 2. So route 3, for me now, is education. I always say education is the key. With education, you can open your own doors, unlock crazy big doors with your own, with education for yourself. And because you yourself has got educated, you can open doors for other people around you. And that really works. Believe me, that works. If you yourself have got empowered, you have the ability, the resources to empower others, even if it's not about money, but that knowledge that you have, you will use it to empower others. If you are not selfish, of course. If you are selfish, you keep everything to yourself. But I take it that you are not selfish. Okay, so once you get the information and you know it works, if you tested it yourself, you'll be able to become multiplicators and help others improve themselves. Okay, so that's education. So with education, I always say, especially with today, it doesn't matter where, at what level you left school. Yeah, that doesn't count no more. That doesn't count whatever your parents did or didn't do, or what level they brought you. You should be at a position where you make up your mind to say, okay, this is what my parents could do, but now I need to move further on than that. I've lived in Germany and I've lived in the UK. I know this applies to many European countries. I don't know about some places. But you know what? If you came, let's say, for those in diaspora, if you left your country without education, like you're not even going to school, you can't read and write, and you happen by God's grace to have landed in Europe, you can go back to school. To start A, B, C, D, 1 + 1 is 2. And you can start from that level. Believe me, if you are hardworking and if you really want to get yourself educated, you can go up to all the way up to universities, right? And of course, I know on this part, I'm saying it knowingly, that I know if you are not in the countries that you are, if you are not yet in the proper citizen or proper legal citizen in these countries, it can be difficult to get some of the resources. But if you have put your foot on the services, yes, you can go back to school. If you haven't, there are other options and other routes open for you to go back to school and learn to read and write. And from there, you can open step by step, door by door. All right, for those who did school halfway, right? And then like you are born in the UK, you are born in Europe, you are born anywhere else in the world, and you still want to go back to school. They are so-called functional courses, right? Functional courses are, like they are courses for adults, right? Who left school prematurely or who left school for whatever reason, but they want to go back into the education system. They can do functional skills. And with those functional skills, when you pass those, like you're doing basic maths, basic English, and a few more basic languages to give you that standard that you need. Okay. And once you have that standard of the functional, you can go on and do the so-called foundation courses, or that those are preparation courses into the kind of degree program that you want to do, or education, or let's say a course that you want to do. So they are always like, either you start by doing level 1, level 2, level 3, level 3, level 4, if you are here in the UK. And then if you are doing in other countries, they have similar things, similar standards, where, you know, like, these are giving you step by step a building up network, a building up programs, so that you can get to that level that you want to be, or at least get the required university entries, or auf Deutsch the Ausbildungen Weg. Yeah, you have to take step by step, depending with whatever you're doing. Okay, so that would be route 2, to say you want to go back into education. So in some places, in some countries, there is an option to say you are working full-time, and then you start studying part-time. So it can be part-time at night. Some, if you are studying something that goes together with what you are working, with your work, with your job, your profession, some bosses are kind enough to give you a day. But if you don't ask, you will never know. Okay, so my tip for you on this point is, say, if you know you want to go back to school, you have done your research, or to college, university, whatever you want to name it, you have made your homework to see where can you go, what are the conditions, what are the dates, how much are the fees, and all that. Talk to your bosses and say, this is what I'm intending to do. Can they support you? And see if they can support you. If they can support you, good for you. You have it even easier. Okay, so that's one way. That would be my route 3, to say, if you want to go to school, do it this way. If you don't want to go like this, like you can't afford, you are the sole breadwinner, and there are bills, and there are mortgages to be paid, and you can't take time out of university to go back, out of jobs to go back to university, there is an option to do online courses. I mentioned this last week, to say there are online courses that you can do. Okay, and if you're doing the online courses, it's a matter of you having your internet connection, a good working internet, reliable sources. Okay, if you are here in Europe, you can go in and you don't have internet at home, don't worry. Every public library has public internet. Okay, so you can go to the libraries, and for every, like, same applies to that when I'm talking of education. In these libraries, there are good sources of books, and there are good sources of other sources that you can use, especially online sources. If you can get yourself a library card, that will do you good. Okay, so, and for those who are outside the European Union or the European countries, if you want to go back to school, yes, you can do that. And these, like I'm saying, talk online resources. They are now online libraries as well. Most universities have online libraries. Some of them will be like, they'll open up their facilities for people outside. Some will not. But you know, if you Google the text that you'll be looking for, you might not get the exact book that you're looking for, but you definitely get an equivalent of that, what you're looking for. Okay, so check online. And the other thing, or talking of education, for those of you who think, you know, like you can't go back to school, blah, blah, like online as well is another source of teaching yourself. Like if you can Google, somebody somewhere is willing to share their information with you because they want to be heard, and they will put good material. Of course, some of the information is also, it leaves a lot to be desired. So it's up to you to look what is good and what is not good, and gauge for yourself. Yeah, and another source will be like things like YouTube. You have so many people there explaining things, showing how things are done. There are so many tutorials on YouTube. I would recommend that as well, as part of learning and boosting what you're already doing, or getting a quick insight into things. Okay, so check that one out as well. Yeah, the other route will be, like my route 4 will be sports. You know, I know when I was growing up at school, the system was better you concentrate on education than put more time on sports, right? Because sports was in that time like not the thing to like really say, wow, my child is a sportsler. But things have changed, times have changed. People are living off being sportler because they are running. There are some names that we all know that, you know, maybe that person cannot even read and write, but because they are good on their legs, or they are good at using their hands, whatever sport they are doing, they are really good. Yeah, they've become a name that everybody knows. right? I'm not yet trying to say people who are doing sports are not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying people who are not doing, who do sports are not intelligent. That's nonsense. You have people who sports people who have 3-4 degrees, or who have other jobs besides their sporting activities. Some are sports people as a hobby, right? So there is that route to say there are different sports. If you have a child that you see that your child is good at something, encourage that child. If it means you paying for them to go and do these sporting activities while they are still young and grow in it, by all means support your children, right? By all means really support your children. It will take them a really long way, yeah, and you will never regret it. If they decide they want out at some point in their lives, you don't have to force them, or sometimes you may a little bit, at least to show them how good it is, what good it will do for them. So sporting today is big business, yeah. And in some universities, you can only get a student a bursary or a student grant, or student bursary, a student bursary, only if you can match your academic qualifications and your sporting qualifications. They have to kind of balance for you to be able to go into some of these universities, because they know both of them, you need both of them. If you make too many monies and too much money, and you can't even like follow it up or know what's happening, you can be sure somebody will take advantage of that. So you better know how to do things yourself. Get somebody to do things, and you can always be able to check them out. Okay, so that would be sport. Like the other route, like sports has got big money. Okay, my son wants to be a racing driver. As much as I say yes, encourage them, I'm busy telling them, Sonny, yes, it's good to be a racing car driver, but those little cars, they move really fast and they bend too. Yeah, but that's me being very cautious. But well, I know if that's what he really wants to do, I cannot stop him. I will support him, but like with tears in my eyes, right? Anyway, that's me. So please support your children if you can, in whichever sporting activity they are doing. But of course, you still have to encourage them to do their schooling. All right. So then the next thing, almost associated with that, like my route 5, would be entertainment. If you have a child who can sing, who can dance, who can act, who can say jokes and everybody rolls, right? Please encourage them. Of course, like I'm saying, their education is still number one, but if they have this other talent, don't keep it under the table. Encourage them. If you cannot do it yourself, bring them into like under the supervision, or like the mentorship of people that they are really good at this whatever your child is doing. Yeah. I can give you an example. My brother was telling me he grew up, like when you were growing up, used to play a bit of keyboard, a bit of marimbas, and all that, because our dad had this thing on music, right? Or getting people, he couldn't play himself, but he had the resources to get other people who could play different sorts of instrument together, yeah, for our church services. Okay, so we grew up with guys who could play keyboards or the guitars, and I happen to have 2 left hands, so I kind of quit at an early stage in terms of playing music. But I really enjoy hearing instruments being played. So my brother sent his child, like for piano lessons, and the little boy, he wasn't really somewhere like really happy about it, or doing it like passionately. So somewhere along the line, they stopped. Like it's a waste of time. And guess what? Along the way, he decided he wanted to do it himself. Guess what? He sits hours and hours on the keyboard by himself. And now he actually plays good songs. And we are like, oh, come on, sweetie, go ahead. You can. And he is doing it by himself. Of course, he can play like the violin really well. So he is now picking things that he wants, music instruments that he wants to play for himself. He is choosing that. And we are there to encourage him all the way. So that I'm saying, if you discover your child knows this, encourage it. Sometimes children need to be shown what is there, because if nobody ever showed them, because the whole family, none of them ever played or listened to classic music. I'll give you another example. You know, when I was growing up, when I listened to classic music, I used to switch off because it made me sleep. It was only when I was in German and a very good friend of mine who loved classic music introduced me to me and explained what classic music is all about. And for your own information, I actually go to the concert now and I don't sleep. Whereas at the beginning, I would go in and I would sleep. Okay, that's me. Yeah, but because I've got to understand what this is all about and what these different instruments, what do they do to each other to make it really become nice, I'm enjoying it more. So sometimes some people don't learn things because nobody ever took time to teach them. So if you as parents can take your children and introduce them to doing different sporting activities, by all means do that. Introduce them to the different sporting activities, introduce them to the different entertainment that is there, and see what your children pick, and then support them with that. Okay, so we have done that point, route 5. So route 6 that I have here for tonight, route 6 will be out of a personal situation that is not working absolutely for you. Okay, so route 6 today is walking out of a situation that is not working for you. All right, like I always say, I'm not here to tell you that this situation is not working for you, but like always, I always say, you know the situation that you are in. You know that situation that is not working right. Either, like, like you have choices, and the choices, I always say, the choice is always yours. You can decide to sit there and continue mourning that things are not working right. You can decide to say, okay, I want out of here, and then you get the help that you need. In some cases, you can walk by yourself. In some cases, you need professional help. In some cases, you need the help of family or friends who stand by you to help you out of that situation. So you consider what works for you and take proper steps to get out of there. All right. So this can be relationships that are not working. This can be, like I said, on top, like all the points that are spoken above. If any of those applies, that is not working for you, it can be in a marriage situation. If it's not working, like really you have tried everything and it's not working, please get out and move on with your life. If you are in a violent relationship, I don't care how many years you have been married. If you are in a violent relationship, get out of there with your life. Okay, you don't say you are staying there because of your children. Your children are suffering with you, seeing you suffer. So even whether you are the woman or the husband who's being tormented there, get out. Okay, so that's me talking. That's my standpoint on that. You don't need to stay in violent relationships. It depends with where you are. If you are here in the European countries, there are like homes that you can even go overnight and stay there until you sort yourself out. And if you are here in some African places, African countries as well, slowly, some things like that are being set up, where people who are like really in difficult relationships can go and find sanctuary or refugee while they sort themselves out. It's not going to be easy, yes, but you need out. You need to stay alive. Okay. All right, so that will be like out of personal roots. That's my route 6, to say get out of personal roots. Okay, so it brings us to route 7. Route 7, the special one for all youngsters who are listening. Yeah, to all youngsters who are listening, teenagers, or like young people who are listening. Yes, I was once a young person, and I was so eager to go far away, as far as possible. That's why I made it to UK. All right, via Germany, and I've been in a few countries as well. So I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so on this one, especially, like, please attention for the youngsters. If you can stay at home a little further and complete your studies, by all means, stay at home. I know it's easy to say, oh, if I get out, I'll go get my freedom, I'll do A, B, C, D. If you are listening, if you can stay at home with your parents a little longer than you need, a little longer as you need to finish off your education, please do that. It gives you the base, it gives you stability. Right. It's easy to say, oh, I'll go out there. If you are in the UK or like in German, in these European countries, like, oh, the government will give me the homes to stay and. But did you remember that, from that amount that you get, you have to pay all the bills? Did you remember that? And from that provision that you get is not something that you can make a fortune on. Okay, so this thing that I'll go away out of home and the government will take care of me and they'll give me enough money and I have freedom, that doesn't work. That is, I don't want to call it rubbish, but that is an illusion. If you still have parents or like family that can support you, finish your studies and get yourself a college degree, get yourself a working finish off a trade before you leave home, please do that. Because the moment you leave out, you step out of home, there will be rent to pay, and rent comes every month and punctually at the same time. There will be electricity bills, and those who live in Europe, they know what winters are like. And there will be of your gas bills, right? We haven't started talking of your insurance, like your health insurance, when you get sick. You haven't started talking of food you will need to eat day in, day out. And those are fixed bills that comes in, day out. Don't forget your mobile phone and your internet. Those are fixed bills that come in, day out, and they need paying punctually. Okay, so if you are staying at home, you don't have to pay your rent, you don't have to pay your gas. At max, you pay for your phone. And if you have even poor parents who spoil you, they might even pay for you for your phone bill, right? And some parents who can afford it, they'll even pay for you for your car and give you petrol money for you to go wherever you want to go to. Okay, but what I'm saying is, so if you are still staying at home and you happen to be doing a mini job somewhere, by all means, do your own contribution, a little contribution. I'm not saying pay the whole rent. If you can afford, sure, why not? But also make your own contribution. Yeah, it can be in forms of you maybe once a month you also buy a little grocery, or maybe you put money on the table to make a contribution for the gas. Make a little contribution to say, like, parents, I know you're also working so hard, but I am now working. Here's my little contribution. That will also go a long way. So please, by all means, if you can, don't leave home without a certificate. Because you leave home without a certificate, before you know it, you are out there on the streets with nowhere to run to. Yeah. Yeah. So before you leave home, please make sure you get proper advice and get yourself, like, really think before you leave home. Okay, so because this thing, excuse me, bye-bye, I'm online, bye-bye.
I've got a problem.
Man, we'll talk about that later.
Don't have any uniform. All of my uniforms gone.
Yes, I could sort out your uniforms for you. You're online, sweetie. I'm online, bye-bye. Okay, so sorry about that. That was my little boy. He has to go away. So now I'm talking, like, if you, like, as somebody's child, if your parents are not kicking you out of your home, by all means, make sure you have solid qualifications before you leave home. Because it's easy, when people are playing around by themselves, telling each other it's better away from home, right? And like, you are free to do anything that you want to be. You are free to go partying all night. You are free to go partying all night. Partying, you cannot eat parties for life. You party today, you party tomorrow. But you know what? If you look at it, those friends of yours who are telling you, let's party all night, let's party every week, they are just losers. And you join them, you will be another big loser. and the world has got no room for losers. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm calling it like that, but that's my own experience to say, if you don't think properly and handle properly, you will be really in trouble. Okay, so that was my root 7. That was my root 7 of, yeah, how to follow your dreams, and how to go step by step, on following up on action time. And this is our episode 7. All right, so like I hope I've helped somebody today to say, as you are following your dreams, as you are going your way. And now, like, we are talking of action time, I'll just summarize like a quick rundown of what we've talked about. We've spoken about, like, route 1 is the business route, where you become, like, start your own business. Route 2 is education. Either you're going back into education, or you are doing what you didn't do, starting a new career, or expanding on what you already have. You are doing route 4, will be following a sport career. Yeah, in whichever sport. There are so many sports activities or sports types that you can get involved in. Sports. Route 5 will be your entertainment. There are so many routes also into entertainment. Okay, you have like route 6, where route 5, where you do employment, like you are employed by somebody else, and then you try and expand on that. Okay, different jobs, or moving in the same department, going up the ladders, or maybe if it has become too much for you, there is a way of cutting down on your hours as well. That's okay. And then route 6 will be moving out, getting out of a problematic personal situation, personal problem. Okay, that will be your route 6, I think. Yeah. And then route 7, I said this one is specifically for youngsters who want to leave home, to say, don't rush out. Okay, stay at home as long as you can, and then get yourself an education, a certificate, a course, a trade, and then before you walk out. All right, and then that will go a long way. So that was my crash course for today, my crash topic for today: action time and route out. With life coach Vimba Ichusa. And please don't forget to press the subscribe button, and don't forget to press the notification button to say, if I have a new show, you will hear about it, or if I have something to share. Okay, and then thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back again next Wednesday with another topic. Like I said, in the next days you will have same topics, maybe in different languages, but please just watch out for the language that you're looking for. Okay, and don't forget to send me your feedback, because I learn from that too, and I am